Hi, Nick.
Hi. Yeah. So, Mark, thank you for putting up with me because you don't have Angel's Envy tonight because it's not tonight.
Coffee. Yeah.
You just have coffee. So I wasn't sure exactly what we would talk about, but I figured we would focus a little bit on Vegas, especially because things are sort of historic. I mean, Caesar's Palace has never closed down in the history of Caesar's. I don't think any Vegas casino has ever closed down in the history of Vegas casinos. So tell me a little bit about what you experienced over the last week or what your feelings were.
Well, to be completely honest, I'm giving up on this stupid iPad, by the way, for extra light. So to be completely honest, I have been blocking out the world because the news is the same thing and it's repeated. I follow 500 people. So I'm seeing the same news repeated by 500 people, and it's just a little tiring. So I've been pretty much away from Twitter, away from Facebook, even though I'm already away from Facebook, and I'm looking at Instagram to get my updates on things. So it's been a weird week for me. I've not gone this long without being in a casino, I think, in 20 years. So it's pretty normal, with the exception of not going to a casino to work for a little while, not to gamble for a little while. I haven't even bet on sports because I'm not betting on Belarus ping pong, or esports or a Australian rules football or something like that. So yeah, it's been a strange time, but me, I work from home, so my life is not upended right now. So I'm still able to work, knock on wood. There's still a demand for what I write about, whether it's sports or Las Vegas. I'm trying to tell more stories about being in Las Vegas, whether it's a story about, going to Samba Latte for coffee or sharing stories about my experiences in casinos, and gambling. Eric is the man.
Is that it? So are you currently covering Belarusian ping pong? Is that one of your pivots currently?
It is not a pivot, but I'm writing about what you can actually bet on in Nevada for sports. So you can bet futures if there is a future. Who knows that the apocalypse is here? So you never really know what's going to happen.
Mark, this is supposed to be virtual hugs and positive stuff. Okay, this is not the grumpy old thing. As if everyone is aware, basically, Mark was born an old man. He's sort of similar to Larry David, actually. A little bit.
I've been told that more than one time, but Netflix has me profiled as somebody that enjoys dark humor, and that is what makes me laugh. I like morbid humor. I like, I can't remember the movie with Jeremy Piven when they kill a hooker in Las Vegas, but it's phenomenal. One of my favorite movies that actually takes place in and around Las Vegas in theory, and that to me is funny. So anyway, back to the sports betting stuff. I was writing yesterday about what you can bet on in Nevada, and there's 4 companies that are taking sports bets right now, and they're searching high and low for different sports to make available. So we have football futures right now if there's a season, or for when there's a season, I should say, if I'm trying to be positive. There's also all these foreign sports. There's second division soccer in Russia. There's table tennis. There's esports. There is esports attempted that might come back. Who knows? So they're looking for options for the people that do want to get down, no matter what the sport is. And personally, not.
Well, how about you? What are you betting on? What is Meltz betting on right now?
I've been practicing video poker. That is my only gambling. I'm firing up the One Poker app and trying to perfect my game. To be honest,
what is your favorite video poker game? What's the video poker that you really like?
I play bonus poker pretty much exclusively. Actually, not true. I
just regular bonus poker, like 8-5 bonus poker.
Bonus poker. It's available in most local casinos, so I play that the most often. My personal preference is that I play. I'd rather play 9-6 jacks or better, and I would like it if these stupid Panda earbuds stayed in my ear. But those are my two favorite. I don't like volatility. As volatile as I may be sometimes, I don't like volatility in my gambling. That's why I enjoy craps and low edge games, except for Pike Out. I play the side bet in Pike Out because that game is so not volatile that I need a little bit of action in the game. So, pushing 40 or whatever percent of the time it is just gets a little boring especially when you're drinking Angel's Envy whiskey or scotch, and I need a little action every now and again.
Well, do you still play when you play video poker? Do you still play single line? I mean, single line to me is the most boring thing in the world. I can't really do it anymore. Well, I can do some high denomination single line video poker, but I find I do like the multi-line, and when I did play more video poker, I really enjoyed Super Times Pay. I got a kick out of that. How about you?
I do like multi-line video poker, but that's when I'm playing lower limits. Just because I have the same gambling budget that I've had for past 10 years. So I can either play single line video poker or dollar video poker, and I'd rather single line or triple line. So I'd rather spend, $5 a hand on single line as opposed to $3.25 a hand for a lower paid table Hi, Han. I'd rather play, I'd rather, if all things are equal, I'd rather play the single line and get more mileage out of that.
Okay.
For a similar budget.
So where's your favorite? Your favorite place to play video poker is Red Rock, right? Or is that just because it's your local place?
Yes, both.
Yes.
It is my local place. The bar that I go to by the sports book has 8-5 bonus poker. So that is my preference, to play 8-5 bonus poker. And if I could do that at a sports bar, that's phenomenal. That's the perfect marriage for me. But if I'm on the strip, I want to get the most bang for my buck. I'll go to Cosmo and play video poker at the Chandelier Bar, because even though it's 6-5, I'm getting amazing cocktails out of that.
I want to get back to that in 1 second, but right before we get back to that, because I wanted to talk about the drink tickets and how that has probably not really impacted people as much as they thought it would. But before that, Terry's asking, what do you think? Memorial Day weekend, Vegas. What do you think is going to happen? What's your prediction? If you had to place a bet right now.
My guess is they're going to be open whenever the president tells them that they can open.
Yeah, but what does Mark think? Because I think Meltz might have even more wisdom than the president.
No comment. But I think they'll open when they're allowed to open. The president will give the country federal national clearance. The governor will give them local clearance. And I think that, this morning I tweeted an article from the RJ with how much money these companies have to last. And it's not really all that much money, the cash on hand that they have. So, we're looking at MGM, for example, is spending $14.4 million a day just to exist. That's quite a lot of money. We're looking at Golden Entertainment is spending $1 million a day, and they have 10 months of capital on hand. So, it's not like we're going to be able to do this forever. So my guess is, if the president says Easter, then it'll be Easter. Will I personally be there?
Somebody just said in the comments, Seth said in the comments, it's less about POTUS and more about the governor.
Correct. That's why, but I think they'll follow. They're politicians. They follow each other, I believe. So I think when the president tells everybody that they're free to go and operate as they wish, people will start doing that where they see that it's possible. So if Nevada doesn't continue to rise, as far as the coronavirus cases are concerned, then maybe we will see them come back sooner than later. These companies, like I said, cannot exist without operating. And again, I'm not close
Well,
to convinced on this.
a quick interruption there. So today you were talking about how Macau might actually, or not talking, you shared an article today about how Macau might actually be the savior for the financials for a lot of casino companies. And I'm sure you've spent a little bit of time looking at that. And I was wondering, what do you think about that? What do you think about the Macau connection? I mean, casinos are reopened now in Macau, correct?
Correct. It makes sense that if you can generate revenue elsewhere, that you can survive a little bit longer. So I believe the article mentioned Venetian, Wynn, MGM all have properties in Macau as well as America. So they'll at least start getting cash flow. It'll be lower, but they'll start getting cash flow sooner than later. And I think that's going to help some of the companies. But when you're looking at the local casinos, you're looking at Caesars as well. They don't have that, and they're going to need that.
Now, you're always consuming so much media with regard to Vegas and casinos.
Not now. I said, I've bought all media for the most part. So this morning I woke up and was like, I need to start reading stuff. But in general, I am very, very far away from consuming what I normally do because the news is the same thing. And honestly, I need to worry about myself. I'm an awful person that way, but that's the way I live.
Well, how about, just pivoting a little bit to casino loyalty? Did you happen to watch the overview from the Caesars CEO about, what's going to happen to loyalty and Caesars loyalty and a little bit of what's going on there? Have you looked at any of that?
Did I watch the video that I shared with notes this morning? Yes.
Yes. So what do you think? What's your thought? What's your thought with regard to how casinos are responding? I mean, because that was a pretty good response. Are there other responses you've seen that are parallel to that?
They're all sort of doing the same thing. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, they don't know when they're reopening. They don't know when they're going to be able to start business again. So it's hard to say anything definitive at this point. So, pausing things and, saying that you'll send offers again, that's sort of common sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And a lot of people, I hear this a lot in the travel world. People are worried. I'm not personally worried about it because I think it's like sort of far down the list, but are worried about their status and, things like their accumulated redeemable points and their status. I know Hilton made a big announcement today that they are extending status for people and not to worry. I think there is possibly a lot of positive from the travel loyalty world if they want there to be positive.
Sure.
So you're
asking me to speculate on something I honestly have no idea about. And I really am not studying because I deal with facts. Give me the facts and I'll deal with it. I'm not here to hypotheticalize everything. I'm not, I feel like a jerk about that, but we talk about rumors and stuff and I try to avoid the rumors for the most part and just deal with straight up facts.
And that's why I love you. So what facts?
What we're being given now is a lot of hypotheticals based on maybe we're going to open in 2 months, maybe we're going to open in a month, maybe we're going to open in 6 months. Honestly, we don't know, and it's not fair for me to say. By the way, you're getting text messages. You could turn that off if you want.
It's people commenting on you, Mark, because you're loved so much by the entire world.
I'm pretty sure that nobody loves me, but that's okay.
You know what? I love you though.
These panda earbuds do not love me, not at all.
So does it somewhat annoy you? Does it somewhat annoy you that there's so much what if out there? I mean, you would be the kind of person that I think would be very annoyed by the what ifs.
Absolutely. That's why I pulled away from Twitter. I pulled away from the news. I'm watching local because that's honestly what I have to deal with. So I need to know that I can still go to Samba Latte and get a cup of coffee, or that I can go, or when I can go into a casino, or what restaurants are going to be open, or what they're allowing. Eric is the best.
Everybody loves Melts because you're one of the most real people I know. Even though I find you sometimes slightly irritating because you're so real, but but you're exactly what I expect all the time. Let's pivot back to the question of video poker and drink coupons. So this was a huge uproar when all of a sudden you would sit, for people who don't know about this or aren't the casino loyalty people, basically you sit down at a video poker bar, you put some money in a machine, and bing, you immediately get a cocktail. And all of a sudden, these casinos decided that maybe that was a little bit too generous. And I'll let you take it from there. So a property like Cosmo, drink coupons. So how did it used to work, and how does it work now? And what do you think? Has it really devalued things for you? Is it okay? I mean, because the drinks there are amazing.
So it started about 3 years ago. You put $20 in a machine, you get one complimentary drink. If you earn a certain amount of points, it's different every casino ownership group. You'll get a drink ticket, or the bartender will serve you a drink. Has it devalued things? Not for me, because I play fairly fast, and I don't ever have a shortage of drinks. So I'm never have a problem when I'm alone. When I'm with someone, I have to pay attention to the game a few minutes, just bang out a couple hands in the middle of our conversations. It's annoying, and it makes me think about that I have to play at a certain tempo in order to get a comp drink, but not really that big of an issue. I haven't heard a lot of complaints about it, because I feel like people are playing and getting enough drinks to where they're not dissatisfied with the experience. Something I wrote for you a couple of years ago. At this point, I was sitting at Tag Bar, my favorite beer bar on the Vegas Strip at the time, over at the Link, before they remodeled and made it a sports book. They had 300 different kinds of beer, and I loved it. And the prices to buy the beer were legitimately fair. It was like $7 for a craft beer from Germany or wherever. And it was a phenomenal thing. And I was just banging away at their shitty pay tables, and I just kept losing money after money after money. And I ended up playing at one session $60 for one beer. And I'm like, this is not what I want to do. Like, I don't mind paying $20 for a beer, but $60 per beer is not my thing. And at that time, I was with some friends and we're all BSing. And I said, if you're going to make me think about it, I'm going to make the better value play. So I just ended up buying a beer for $7, tipping the bartender $3 at a time, for a total of $10, because that was my vacation. So,
well, Terry just said, that I don't know why comp drinks are such a big deal. I understand hotel rooms, but would you agree comp drinks are overvalued? And the interesting thing here, I think with somewhere like Cosmo, is you can combine those drink tickets for like a super premium drink, right? Or a more premium drink. And this actually is an advantage now, because when the drinks were just comp, there was a certain level that they would comp to, and that was it. But now, can't you combine like 3 or 4 coupons to get a really special drink?
Only at the Cosmopolitan, and that does make them special. And even they're very different, because you'll get a whale drink from Caesars or MGM or most other properties for your comp drinks. And to what Terry says, that is overvalued. If I'm gambling to get a free bottom shelf drink, not really my style. I'm sort of a snooty drinker. I'd rather have a better scotch. I'd rather have a better whiskey or better.
Wait. You're a snooty drinker?
Yeah, go figure.
Wow. You know what? I want to give a couple of shout outs. I wanted to give one shout out in the middle. This is like commercial interruption, but Pizza in Motion, Ed Pizzarella, has joined us today, which I appreciate. And I think he has a live chat with mommy points in a little while about family and work at home. So pizza, if you want, maybe just, I think it's an Insta chat. Maybe put a link to that in the comments in case some people are bored of us. They can check you out when you start your live chat. But I just wanted to do that. Let's see who. Pizza was asking, are there any Vegas residents here? Hey, Bethany's joined us. What took you so long? So yeah, I'd like to know, who's in Vegas that's joining us today. How do you feel? How do you feel, Mark? Do you feel like I go through being here in London? The day seems very normal. Things seem usual. And then it hits me again that things aren't usual again, which is sort of strange. Like I forget about it for a little while, which is good.
Yeah, for me, I am an isolated person in general. And I'm generally not the most outgoing person. So my life isn't really changing all that much. Like I said, with the exception of going to happy hour to work and do research, or, go to a casino, gamble, and maybe write for a little while. My life is fairly normal. I feel bad for other people that are having their lives changed. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of people that are losing their jobs or temporarily losing their jobs. So that's a little strange. But personally, my life, I could still go to a coffee shop. Dunkin' Donuts is still open. I can, enjoy whatever. Today I went to Samba Latte, one of my favorite local coffee shops. So my personal life is not really different, which is a strange thing to say when so many other people are having issues.
Mark, I would figure you'd have a cat. Do you have a cat?
I hate cats. I
Really?
love dogs.
Oh, so why don't you have a dog?
I don't want to deal with it.
Leela's having trouble with the audio. You probably should try rebooting your browser. Chrome is best. So I lost my train of thought there for a moment. Oh, I was going to do a bougie shout out. So I collect a lot of casino memorabilia, and this glass right here is a vintage Caesar's Palace glass that I'm using tonight for my Angel's Envy. I should say they're the official sponsor of our webinar, which I think is wonderful. But I happen to love collecting casino things, and for sure, Caesar stuff is some of my favorites. So Mark, are you reading any books lately?
I listen to audiobooks.
Okay, so what do you like? I'm sure it's casino oriented or gambling oriented.
It's neither. Every audiobook I listen to is baseball. So the most recent one is about baseball stadiums, the history of building baseball stadiums. And it was a 10.5-hour audiobook that, me, I listen on double speed. I was done in 5 hours. But everything I listen to and read a lot of analytical baseball stuff because I love that. Casino things are articles to me. So for the most part, I'm reading with the last week or so, as an exception, I generally just read articles that are being published, whether it's Bloomberg or Forbes, Barron's, maybe the local papers, just to see what the businesses what's happening on the business side.
I like this analytical baseball thing. Tell me more about this.
What would you like to know?
I want to know something that's going to inspire me. Because I'm not the biggest baseball fan.
Yeah, then it's the most boring baseball information you could imagine. It's basically data on how to play the game the most efficiently and effectively. So, for example, if a batter changes the angle he swings his bat at
I actually find this interesting, believe it or not.
1 degree, it'll change the impact of the ball, that kind of thing. If a pitcher throws a certain kind of pitch, it'll have when the person hits it, the odds of it go, let's say it's a fastball. If it's 10 miles an hour faster, it'll go farther than one that's, 10 miles an hour slower, which would make sense, with speed and physics and all that jazz. So I find stuff like that to be interesting, and I like to learn how it's being used. And, as someone that's primarily a baseball bettor, to me, I'm always looking for an edge on that. So that's where it ties back to gambling. how I can use different.
Well, wait,
data.
are you betting futures right now? Are you doing any baseball
I
future?
already did that.
And what were they? Tell us what your bets were.
Only one bet. It was the Yankees under 102 wins for the year.
Really? You're a big Yankees fan, aren't you?
Love the Yankees, but it's just a lot of wins, and I generally bet under, which nobody likes because it's boring. But I bet that because there's too many injuries, and I just think that's going to be a bit too much for them to overcome this year. But we'll see. If I lose a bet, my team's going to win, so I win either way.
Terry just asked, how bad are you guys hurting without gambling? So what was your last, Pizza said he would totally take the Yankees under 102. He wants to know what price you got. You got a hit.
It was minus 110 Pizza, and it was, I got it at William Hill. It's still available. You can bet on sports in Nevada at William Hill, Circa, if you have an account, MGM, and Caesars. And I believe they all have. The futures up. I can look at my phone if I stop talking, but I can't do two things at once. So
Seth was saying, how are they going to prorate the season bets if they don't play 162 games? What do you think is going to happen with that? They're just going to disqualify it?
I'm pretty sure my bet will be voided, and they'll repost the information.
Yeah. So you think a lot of bets will be voided
for baseball? Yeah. There's no way they play 162 games. So any of the win totals, I'd rather bet season win totals if I'm making a long-term bet, because they typically have less of a theoretical hold from the casino, so I'm getting paid a better number. My return, on the Yankees bet is minus 110, so I'm laying $110 to win back 100. Whereas if you bet a futures bet, you might be looking at something with and that's a 5% hold. If you're looking at a futures bet, you might be betting into a pool where the casino holds about 30%. So it's different, whichever bet you make. So that's why season win totals. I mean, you're tying up your money for a long time, so you better be getting a good return on that investment.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So Terry was asking people walking through casinos with cameras. What do you think about people who walk through casinos with cameras?
Go for it.
So it doesn't bother you?
No, I mean, I am me, so I can only speak on my behalf. The issue is that technology is moving so much faster than casinos. I get that, Terry. Technology is moving. I got to stop looking at the chat because it's totally distracting me.
It's good. You're getting used to it though, but I think I'm actually curious for some feedback. Like, is the video quality and the audio quality good? Because I'm testing a couple of different platforms, and I think this one is sort of cool. And Meltz looks great to me. You look very cheery.
I look a little red. I look kind of red. Like my shirt is a little red. My Samba Latte coffee cup is a little red. My lighting in this room is pretty awful. But I had to reposition my desk so that we're not looking at a what do you call it, a day bed with my little fluffy pillows in the background.
Oh, I like fluffy pillows. But back to technologies and casinos. Just pivot it to the conversation about social media in casinos, cameras in casinos. What do you think? Like, is it? I mean, I know the D has a very nice policy about social media, and I've taken some great pictures at baccarat tables there.
We're finally getting to the point where it's being accepted. The Strat is running a promotion where they're encouraging you to take pictures. The problem is people are not respectful of others, and that's the issue that casinos have had forever. So I like to take pictures that have no people in it, that are just me and my stuff, or a sports book, let's say, or the winnings like you did when you were at the D the last time, and you were able to take a picture of your stuff. That, to me, should be allowed. It's good marketing for the properties. It's good, and it's a way to keep people engaged. It's free promotion ultimately. But we're still dealing with corporations that are operating on business models that started 50 years ago before cell phones, and we're dealing with older gentlemen for the most part that are the upper ups that are not listening as much to the people on the ground floor that see that everybody has a camera phone. And I think it's just it's going to take time, but I think they're finally coming around, and it's going to continue to be a respect thing. They don't want people taking pictures of random folks in the casino that may or may not belong there, may or may not be with people they should be with. So it's understandable that, but taking pictures of casino chips and your winnings and your activities, I think is fine. When I first moved here, I couldn't take a picture in a sports book, and that's totally gone 360 in the last 9 years, where not 360, I guess 180, where they're fine with me taking pictures in the sports book. There's not really the same issues that there used to be with that. So
is that good for you because you regularly take selfies of yourself to put on the Insta?
I think I've taken one selfie in my life, and it was because I was forced to a G2E last year by a guy that was in a cover band that was pitching himself to other casino operators. So all my pictures.
You know what? Han mentions that in Macau, cameras are generally banned. In London, cameras are absolutely banned. They're pretty bad about it, though. I've gotten a couple of pictures very sneakily. I'll tell you my experience over the last year when the casino was most draconian with regard to pictures was Caesar's Cairo. Caesar's Cairo was crazy, and they saw me take, and they weren't even like really bad pictures, but they ran over to me and they made me delete them from my camera. But this is always the funniest thing, and I've had this happen at security when I've taken pictures sometimes, and they tell me I can't have them, and they make you delete the pictures. But I think nobody realizes, well, I think everybody should realize that when you delete your pictures, it goes into a deleted folder, and you just bring them out of your deleted folder afterwards. So it really doesn't matter. So I don't matter. Seth says there are no cameras in Nepal. Yeah, Seth was recently playing blackjack in Nepal. I mean, that's Nepal blackjack I've never done. People, what's funny, Terry? I had a situation once with a friend at Mohegan Sun where there's a guy who was like a potato chip distributor, and he liked it where people rubbed his head. And I had a friend, and we rubbed his head, and we hit a signer on Top Dollar, $25 Top Dollar. So let's pivot to, like, Mark, what's your favorite slot machine?
Top Dollar. You know that.
Everyone out there, what's your favorite slot machine? It is top, so it's still Top Dollar. Nothing's changed. Like the Lightning Link stuff.
I play a lot more. I play Buffalo because it has me curious, and I like to yell at the slot machine whenever I hear the word Buffalo. And I love quick hits as well, as you know. So, and there's so many versions of quick hits that I'm always trying whatever the new one is.
I'm a very pure. Bethany likes Game of Thrones. Do people really like Game of Thrones? That's like way too intense for a slot machine for me. I like Sex in the City.
Yeah, you do. But Game of Thrones is super popular. It looks so cool, but I've never seen the show, and I don't know. I do like Dragon Links, Nick. Yeah, that's a good one.
So James has a good question. Wait, James has a good question. What do you think the entertainment landscape will be like when the casinos reopen? So we're not talking about when they reopen. We're just talking about maybe changes to the entertainment landscape. Do you think everything will come back at once? Do you think things will change a little bit? Terry also asked, do you live in Vegas? You can answer that question too. All questions for you.
Yes, Terry, I do live in Vegas. And what do you think about the entertainment? I honestly have no idea what they're going to do. It really depends, I think, on how long this lasts.
Are any strip clubs still open in Vegas now?
No. They
are
not essential, and they're being fined if they're open. I believe that was started on Monday, whatever day today is. It started a couple days ago. But the entertainment, I think, Scott tweeted last night that the clubs in Vegas are looking at the stoppage as a way to get out of contracts with some of the overpriced DJs, which entirely possible. That's possible. I really don't know what they're going to do. They're going to need to give people a reason to come to Las Vegas. So my instinct is they can't dial it back too much. But if you're looking at certain shows that don't perform as well, they're going to possibly not have them return. You know, Scott's always going on about Mariah Carey, you know, and how poorly she does. They could cancel her. Meanwhile, MGM sells out every Bruno Mars show, so they're probably going to want to make sure they bring him back. Lady Gaga, same thing. So it's entirely possible we see different things from different companies too, depending on where they actually make money, and that's something, you know, I'm not entirely sure on. You know, there's rumors. One of the last Vegas news I wrote, we talked about Bloomberg had it from an analyst that Caesars might look to sell off their entertainment segment when El Dorado takes over. Who knows? You know, that's possible, but you need to give people a reason to come back, and entertainment is one of those reasons. So I think we'll still see entertainment.
So somebody asked, John asked, isn't there one strip club that's doing drive-through? They're
no longer.
How did that work? Did you test that? Like, did you do a review of that? Or I'm sort of curious.
Little Darlings is an amazing place. It is
really well. Define amazing.
it's not awesome. It's amazing. You're getting sea-level talent in the club. You're getting somewhere that should have been disinfected years ago. It's full nude, no booze served. It's a great place to go sober up if you had too much to drink, and you're like, I can't let the night die, but I need something else to get me through.
Well, why don't you take me to these places when I'm in Vegas?
I don't go to these places on purpose.
And so I'm just curious. I mean, I feel like you're withholding from me.
I did my time with the strip clubs. I'm too old for that on a regular basis now. But when I was visiting Las Vegas, I used to always hit a strip club.
You know what? We're gonna step back. We're gonna take Leela's question about which some of it's been answered today. What are the chances of most of the big casino companies, Caesars, MGM, Wynn, Hard Rock, Mohegan Sun, extending the tier statuses that people are on? I know they're losing money by being closed, but we are their bread and butter. And I believe Caesars announced yesterday, and I just posted that in the ZorkCast group, that they're going to be extending statuses on a prorated basis. Have you heard anything else about anybody else? I mean, I'm expecting it to happen, and Hilton's announced it.
Cosmopolitan is doing something similar. MGM's going to look at the information and probably make a similar decision. They're going to have. You're right. These are the core customers, and there's a loyalty club for a reason. And you want to make sure these people come back first before you go looking again for new customers. So I think that everyone will be taken care of to the most cost-effective extent. So
I think so. I think some companies are just waiting a little while until they announce it. But I think the casino offers are going to be better than ever, especially because there's going to be a pause. Once things start to come back to normal, people are going to be slow to move, slow to travel again, slow to get things going. I mean, not a parallel situation to 9/11, but I think it takes people a while to get themselves going again. So I think, they're going to have to entice people with really, really good offers that are better than what they're currently getting. So
the one thing that I need to write about somewhere that I'm just sort of waiting on more information for. When the last recession hit about 10 years ago, I was hitting up every luxury property in Vegas as a tourist because I was getting amazing offers that were probably the same price I was getting for a lower tier property. So I could stay at Wynn for the same price as MGM Grand, or I could stay at the Venetian for the same price, again, using MGM Grand as a mid-tier property. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that. And we might even see that to a whole other degree because there is so much more competition nowadays for customers. There's more gaming, and the casinos in other states are much nicer. So you have to give people a reason to travel and risk their life as they may see.
No, I think you're right. I just want to interrupt on one thing. We have the chat session, but along the left-hand side of your bar, you can also speak if you want to, and we can hear your voice, and you can ask us questions. I don't know if anyone's tried that yet. I don't think anyone has, but it's sort of a cool feature of this webinar. So anyway, I want to talk a little bit about when I first like found out who Marc Meltzer was. And I used to follow your original blog, which was called East Coast Gambler. Is that correct? Yeah. And you used to post your pictures from Showboat. You played a lot at Showboat back then. And they had those great suites at Showboat with the terrace, and you always had the fruit for breakfast. You see? I remember. I read your articles. So tell us a little bit about East Coast Gambler.
So I love the Showboat because I am not a big gambler. I'm a quarter gambler at the most, and nowadays I'm not even that for the most part. But back then, I was a green chip gambler playing $25 hand blackjack, 3-card poker, slots, video poker at the time.
No baccarat. You didn't play baccarat. They had a really nice baccarat room at Showboat.
No comment.
Okay.
But Showboat always treated me better than the other properties there, and I got more bang for my buck there. So if I would spend, let's say, $1,000 a day at Showboat, I would get way more. I would get RFB and comp rooms, comp suites, comp meals, comp booze, everything free just for gambling there. Whereas in the total reward system at the time, Bally's and Caesar's Palace and Harrah's were giving me not as good offers. So I was very, very loyal to them because they were good to me. And that's something I try to preach to people. I would rather be at a lesser property and treated well than be at a fancier property and get nothing for my money. So that's why.
What Angela mentions, she loved the Asian area and restaurant and Showboat. And I don't know, this is totally off the top of my head, but Gary Loveman made a really big deal about when they redid the Asian Games area of Showboat. They had a lot. They put a lot of actual work into it, and I had one of my best baccarat sessions ever at Showboat. It was a magical night after winning a drawing at Revel. It was like a Revel. It was a Revel Showboat night. Actually, for the opening of Revel, I went to that was the Beyonce weekend, and I got the family tickets to Beyonce. But we stayed at Showboat for the opening of Revel. So Jay had a really good question. Do you think there are any Vegas casinos that don't survive the closure? That's sort of interesting to think about. I hadn't thought about that before.
Say again, sorry.
So Jay says, do you think there are any Vegas casinos that don't survive the closures?
It's possible. I think if it is, it's going to be a locals company where if this goes on for a longer period of time, we mentioned earlier, Wynn and Venetian and MGM are going to be able to generate revenue outside of Las Vegas, outside of Nevada. So they're already getting money because Macau's open. So I think the locals casinos might have a more difficult chance it's moving forward. Maybe for example, not specifically, but you have casinos like Rampart, that's a locals casino. You have Silverton, it's only locals. I don't know what their business profiles are, so I don't know that those are the specific examples, but that kind of a casino is going to have a more difficult problem staying afloat than will a multinational corporation.
Okay. So we're going to pivot again, because I love pivoting. So Terry says we're being too rigid. We have to. We're not making our gambling conversation fun enough. So,
you want a fun gambling story?
Yeah, I want a fun gambling story. I want to know. So, I want a really fun gambling story.
It's really not that fun, but it's fun for me because it was fucking amazing.
Okay. Whoa! This is a PG audience. We're not allowed to use that word. I'm joking.
Sorry.
I'm joking. Sorry. It's fine. I like the word fuck. I say it a lot.
So I was one night at Mandalay Bay. My friend and I were just wandering around, gambling, whatever. We ended up seeing this group of guys just hooting and hollering for way too long while we're just slumming around playing blackjack. Turns out they were playing Pike Out Poker. So we're like, this is awesome. I took my $100 and I was able to get 4 hands in. And I had no idea what I was doing. So he and I are like, yeah, we can't roll this deep. Let's go to one of our favorite low rolling joints and learn how to play this game right. Um, because we want that kind of fun. Everyone's drinking, everyone's having a great time. How do we have that same great time? We ended up going to Gold Coast. It's now around 3 o'clock in the morning. My friend's falling asleep. He's not sober. I'm forcing him to drink a shot of Jack Daniels and a cup of coffee every time the cocktail waitress comes by. 3 hours later, he's still doing that. We're learning how to play Pike Out Poker, and it was just an amazing time. We ended up playing $5 Pike Out Poker. The dealer was very patient with us and taught us how to play. It was just an amazing night. We got comped buffets back in the day, and it was just a phenomenal, fun gambling time. And it cost us maybe $10 in tips after everything was said and done.
Wait! You had to pay tips. You didn't get someone to pay the tips for you?
Yeah, sorry.
So here's my best. Here's my interjection.
I have plenty more, but they're not.
No. I'm going to get to. We'll get to them after. But here's the tip thing is always the always interesting aspect of it. Now I know when you were in Vegas, you used to be RFB or LFB every once in a while, right? At Showboat. But in Atlantic City, right?
Yeah. When I go to Vegas, I like to be a big dog, or go to nice places and just be a low roller there.
Well, always the problem in Atlantic City, for those who don't know, at Caesars Properties, you could get coded as LFB for limited food and beverage or RFB for full, food and beverage. And limited food and beverage was fine because you could charge whatever you wanted at any of the bars. And I tested this extensively years ago, so you could run up some really good bar tabs. But the problem was you always had to pay the gratuity, right? So remember the pool bar at Harrah's? Is that before your time or after your time? You must have been to the pool. The really like Jersey Shore pool thing at Harrah's.
I'm familiar with it, but I never wasted my time there.
I know, but I wasted my time because I wanted my tips paid. So what I would do, since I was food and beverage and I could sign it to the room folio, is I would go to the bar at the pool bar, and then I would find 2 girls who were drinking, and I'd say, "Hey, you want some free drinks?" And they would think like I'm hitting on them, which I wasn't. And they go, "Sure," because they think I'm an idiot and I'm buying them free drinks. But really, I was doing it. It was a reverse psychological play, because I knew that when they got the drinks, which they didn't know were comped because I was just signing them to my room, they would then tip the bartender in cash. And it worked even better because they would give the bartender really nice tips in cash, and we get even better service. Little did they know, I was just signing tabs that were being taken off my casino bill, but I needed somebody else to pay the tips. So really, they thought they were taking advantage of me, but I was actually taking advantage of them for tipping the bartenders. That's pretty sharp, huh? Did you ever think of that one? Yeah, I sort of like that. I have lots of great Atlantic City. So give me another one of what's your best drunk gambling experience?
So
everyone has at least 4 of those.
I was just telling a friend of mine this story the other day. I don't talk about it very often because it's not very PG. But we one day, a friend and I were playing craps at MGM Grand early on a Sunday morning. I won a few $100s at the time, which for me was amazing. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the room and take a nap." I'm like, "Forget you. It's Sunday. I got all these bets in football. I need to watch the games. Where am I going to watch the games? Let's go to Crazy Horse 2 and hang out by myself at a strip club and watch football." And it was just one of the most amazing times. And my football bets won. I was winning money left and right and just enjoying my favorite strip club at the time when it was open. And, that's really about it. Gambling is, I get drunk while I'm gambling, but the fun happens after generally.
So did you ever make any really bad decisions while drunk and gambling?
I've never made a bad decision in my life.
Really?
Every decision, some things don't work out, but that's part of life. Winning and losing is no big deal because I'm gambling money I can afford to gamble. making decisions in life, sometimes you go down the right way of the road, and sometimes you go the wrong way and have to loop back and get back on the right path. So to me, there's really no right and wrong, no good or bad. I'm generally looking out for myself, and that might be the worst part of me being me.
Do you miss, right? I think what's sort of strange now is that you can't go to a casino if you wanted to. And that's got to be a strange feeling, right? Like if you want to play video poker in the morning, or if you just wanted to go play craps, you just can't. Just the way I can't go to any of my local casinos in London because they shut down on Friday night. And by the way, this is a great promotional period for Playboy, and which they're going to have to extend the promotion. But it's a little strange, right? Because you don't have the option to go right now. Like there's no option. I mean, unless you play online.
Well, in Nevada, we can't even play online unless we're playing World Series of Poker.com, WSOP.com.
So Nevada only has sports betting online?
It's mobile sports betting, and it's WSOP.com poker, and that's it. One website.
Well,
So other states have more. New Jersey, Pennsylvania have more.
I know a lot of people are playing online in New Jersey. My friends at the Everything Atlantic City group have a really good promotion with DraftKings for online gambling, or they have all kinds of, I wonder if they have the live dealer stuff right now, but they have a really good promotion going right now. I didn't realize Nevada didn't have that. I think New Jersey's at the forefront of gambling, online gambling. I mean, actually, if you think about it, it insulates them just a little bit with regard to the closures, because the online gambling is not closed. So it's probably a really good thing, with exception to the sports betting, which isn't happening.
Yeah, definitely. And they're definitely set up better with having more, whether it's online slots or online blackjack. Pennsylvania and New Jersey are ahead of Nevada in that point, but we have the casino companies here, like Station, would rather people come to the casino than gamble online. So it's just the way of doing business in the state that's a little bit more quote unquote mature as far as gambling goes. And these companies are still operating, some of them, on a different business platform than the rest of the country.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that they do that, but also, you have gambling everywhere in Nevada, whereas New Jersey just has gambling, really casino gambling in Atlantic. I think it's just Atlantic City. They never extended that anywhere else, right? I mean, weren't they talking about Meadowlands? So it's really different because you have to go to Atlantic City to gamble. So they're opening up the online gambling to the entire state. So I think it's sort of a different kind of thing. I mean,
it's ubiquitous here. I can go, before the coronavirus shut everything down, all the gaming down, I could go to a drugstore or the supermarket, or a bar to play video poker or a slot machine if I want. It's very different as far as, and that is around the corner. I could, if I was not so lazy, walk up the hill to the supermarket and play a mediocre video poker bay table if I wanted, or across the street to a bar that also has a video poker, or walk around the block. It's literally ubiquitous here, and it's everywhere. And that's different than, like you said, in New Jersey or Pennsylvania, other states where it's a lot less available. Actually, Pennsylvania is a bad example because they have gambling in other places besides casinos.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I actually, Angela was asking a specific question about the DraftKings promo. When I did the DraftKings promo a couple months ago, it wasn't 25 times for a 20% bonus up to 500. It was a simpler promo, but I think it's probably something that would be a great conversational point in the Everything Atlantic City group, because
one of my clients that I write for the sports side, I write for Play Nevada, but they have Play every state. So they have Play NJ, Play PA, Play Michigan, and they have all those current offers available on their websites as well. And they have the up to the date, because the promos that are running are different they seemingly change every week or so in New Jersey, especially because they're looking to acquire new customers, and they're offering tons of stuff. MGM has promos all the time. FanDuel has promos. DraftKings has promos. Sugar House, Bet Rivers, you name it. They're all doing promos all the time. And honestly, I can barely keep track of this state, let alone dealing with Nevada or New Jersey, rather. Sorry.
Yeah. So what's your favorite casino in the entire world? If you had to pick, okay, I'll let you pick two, but I'll start with if you had to pick one.
If I had to pick, what am I doing in the casino? Is it just
I'm going to say you're playing table game. Actually, no, you know what? I'm going to say overall, something that ticks multiple boxes. You know, your experience, your casino experience, your gambling experience, you know, a property that satisfies a lot of things. What would you say?
I would probably say the Cosmopolitan. Just because I like the vibe there. I like the restaurant. I like a lot of the restaurants there. The gambling itself is fine, but I like the bars, the restaurants, the different things to do. The gambling, like I said, is fine. I could play craps there at affordable limit. I can play the other games if I feel like diving down to 6-5 blackjack or whatever.
Wait! You play 6-5 blackjack?
If I have to. If my friends are there and they want to play 6-5 blackjack, I'll play 6-5 blackjack. So I'm not a martyr of my group. I'm sorry. This is all gambling is entertainment to me. So I will play games with bad odds. I play penny slots, for God's sake. You know, there's nothing worse than a penny slot. So, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing worse than a Britney Spears penny slot or
wait. Do you happen to like Britney Spears though?
I love Britney. That's my girl. We go way back.
Why didn't I know that?
I was at opening night of her show in Vegas. How do you not know this?
I don't keep track of everything. I can't, you know, you put a lot of stuff on social media. It's hard to keep track of it all.
That happened like 6 years ago. That was before I was putting a lot of stuff on social.
Wow, I didn't know that. So Britney's up there. Do you like Madonna?
No, not well. I like songs. I don't like her the way you like Madonna is the way I like Britney.
Okay. How do you know I like Madonna though?
Because you've told me. You made me record video of that stupid slot machine at G2E.
Oh yeah. Do you like that?
And my favorite Madonna song is Like a Prayer, and it's not in the stupid slot machine. So that one can get the finger as far as I'm concerned.
Wow. That seems tough. So you say Cosmo. What's your favorite casino downtown?
Downtown, I love the D. They have one of the two best steakhouses downtown. The vibe is whatever mood I'm in. So if I want to play table games and party, I'll hang out downstairs. If I want to drink good beer, they have some of the bitter beer options downtown at the Long Bar, while play the less than perfect video poker, so I can get a complimentary beer of better choices. I'm very much looking forward to Circa when that opens. I think it will change the game because it'll offer something a little bit better. But when I'm in the mood to be just sort of a grumpy old man, I'll go up to the upstairs at the D and hang out at View Bar, where it's a little bit more mellow, not as much party, and so it gets me in all the moods that I'm in. Whether I'm in a social mood or antisocial mood, I can do both.
Yeah, did you see Scott was just asking about Circa? I think Circa is really going to change the downtown experience. I didn't tell anyone, but I already booked a trip in for what I was hoping would be around the time of the inaugural of Circa. I'm a little fearful now that is construction continuing? I guess construction is sort of continuing, right? As
far as I know, construction is still essential. It's continuing on the stadium. Resorts World stopped. I believe it was either last night or today, because somebody was diagnosed with COVID-19. I haven't heard a peep about Circa. So if I don't hear anything, that's probably a good thing. But we'll see how that goes.
Do you promise if I can make it in for the opening of Circa, my first dice session, that you'll play with me? Because we've never played dice before. I'm really sad about that. I mean, I've tried to get you to play baccarat. I know you don't want to play baccarat, so I'm not gonna. I'm not.
I will. I will probably be at Circa when it opens. So yeah.
So when you play dice, how do you open up? What do you do? What's your routine? What's your dice? What's the Meltz dice routine?
Very plain and boring. I'll play the pass line, the max odds I can afford at the time. So if I'm downtown playing $10 craps, I'll bang out the 10 times odds. If I'm on the strip, chances are good that if I will play 3, 4, 5, whatever the number is. On the pass line, I'll either play 6 and 8 or straight, or I'll do 2 comebacks. And again, try to max those odds depending on what my bankroll looks like for the day. Fairly simple and not exciting.
I like full. Do you always take full odds though? Because that's always...
it's the maximum I could afford at the time. So if I have money in my pocket, I will play higher, greater odds than I will if I don't. You know, I like I said, gambling is entertainment to me. I want to get the most bang for my buck that I can afford. I'm not trying to go above and beyond what my limits are. So I'd rather play longer at and play less odds if I can't afford to play long and play max odds. So, but there's always some kind of odds.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're having a little bit of an AV geek conversation being interjected here.
Yeah, what's going on?
So BA 275 is the afternoon segment from London Heathrow to Las Vegas. That's the flight I flew with some friends, including James. I think it's that James in January in the ZorkCast group. I shared some pictures of that, and BA 275 is a 747, and there is rumor that BA will be retiring many of their 747s now, that there is not going to be much traffic. So yes, James, there was also BYOC, bring your own caviar. So we're having a little bit of a guess. A bunch of us, including Bernard and a few other people, were able to book. We've all booked on the same flight to Vegas for the opening of Circa, which we don't know when the opening is, but this is what we do in our British Airways group. And we're just sort of wondering if it's not going to be a 747, what plane will be. So we were geeking out a little bit on that. But I definitely want my dice strategy is a little different than yours, because when I open up at a dice table, I do not go on the pass line.
Interesting.
Because it's all about rating. I'm most concerned with locking up a rating. And in the vast majority of casinos, they do not rate the odds. And when they do rate the odds, it's usually not to your advantage. I think Venetian Plaza always rated the odds. So I want to make sure my opening bets are always accounted for, based on, what I'm actually betting. So I don't want to lose the odds portion for the initial locking up my minimum bets. So I go pretty much so on the pass line. My optimal is 0.6, 0.8, because I like the 6 and 8. What is it? 1.45%. So it's a pretty low thing. And I place the 6. I always balance it. So I always place the 6 and the 8. If the point was a 5, then I would bet heavier on the 5, a little bit on the 9, and most of my action on the 6 and the 8. But that allows me to lock up what I consider to be a pretty good rating, not having to worry about the fact that they're not going to rate my odds.
Yep, and they generally don't rate odds. I get awful ratings when I play craps. I don't play that for the points. I play that for making money, yo. Who are you typing to? Why you stop talking? What's going on over there?
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What? You confused me. You sent me a text message too. I can only handle so much. Okay. I mean, remember, I've been drinking Angel's Envy, the official sponsor of our webinar. I'm going to send them a message. Maybe they'll give us all Angel's Envy.
I did a sidebar text to you, so I don't forget what I wanted to tell you about Circa. So that's why that was sent. We could deal with that later.
Okay, that's good. So does anybody else have any other questions or anything else that's on their mind? Because we've been doing this for a little while. I think the format is fun. Maybe we'll change it up a little bit next week. Maybe get a second guest. You think you could convince Scott to do this with us?
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, that's what I figure. Well, who do you want? Who could we convince to do this with us? Maybe somebody has a suggestion.
Why don't you get Eric and talk about the Players Club stuff?
Yeah. Okay.
I
Do you
don't
think we
there's
could?
anybody-
You think we could get Eric Rosenthal? You think we could convince him to do this with us?
If he has nothing better to do, why not?
Yeah.
He,
Well.
he is honestly one of the smartest people in this world. Him and you are both the two people I look to for knowledge on that topic, and I think that's a great topic to have discussions about. And
I'm gonna. Yeah. I want to share one more thing before we go.
Between TravelZork and LBA Travel, there's plenty of people that will be curious about.
Melanie said we should get Derek Stevens. Can you make that happen? That would be fun.
I can ask. I can reach out if you want it.
Yeah, Hillary says Eric R. I just want to show. I also collect vintage books, and I want to show you some of my favorite books because this is my.
Here.
Wait, show more. I'll be right back.
And then these are the awful earbuds that I bought, and they cost $8. That basically was a purchase just so I could get this little pouch. But there's now a Miniso store in Chinatown, and it's a phenomenal place, and they have lots of cheap little tchotchkes, and I ended up buying about 4 or 5 different panda things, and I think I love my little panda office mate, and I want to get a bigger version of him because the panda is awesome, and this one is so squishy and soft, and it's replaced all of my squeeze balls that I have. Like for stress, I just squeezed and squeezed, and I'm way better with
Wait, you have stress in your life?
I live on stress.
Okay, so I'm going to show you. Have you ever read this book?
No.
Great book. Really good. Highly suggested to anyone who really loves Atlantic City. Also, my favorite guy from Fort Lee, New Jersey, Lyle Stewart, Casino Gambling for the Winner. Really cool book. Lots of cool stories. Also,
here's the book.
Big Julie.
Who's
Really,
Big Julie?
another cool book. It's about a junket operator. Really good stuff. That's him.
See, this is the kind of book that I used to read when I was reading books about the business of Kiss. It's called Kiss and Sell. It was from their old business manager about how they made all their financial decisions as a band. And to me, when I used to work in music, that was fascinating to me because that was the part of the business I was working in. So.
I like Kiss a lot. Remember Kiss did that TV show at Magic Mountain?
No, I'm not a fan of the band at all. But
really?
I love their business. I think they're wonderful business people, and they have a great team of people that have worked with them over the years, and that's what I was curious about. A lot of what I used to do, I used to read about marketing and music and the history of rock and roll because I didn't grow up. Even though I worked and owned company and music business, I didn't grow up as a music fan. I used to listen to the radio. My parents used to listen to country music on the radio, so it was all just a little different for me. And
I listened to a lot of Duran Duran and New Order.
I believe that.
You believe that, and also Van Halen. My first concert at Madison Square Garden was Van Halen.
Yeah, I did. There was a rumor that there's going to be a Van Halen or not Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen, maybe not Eddie Van Halen. Who's Sammy Hagar is going to do a residency in Vegas.
I saw him on the beach in Atlantic City. Really?
I went to his bar in Atlantic City at Bally's.
That's pretty cool. No, that's good stuff. John was asking if we have anything that's Hello Kitty. I don't think I have anything here that's Hello Kitty. Oh, by the way, I want to show you one of my favorite historical books that I got.
I'll take a picture from the Hello Kitty Cafe truck that used to be over at
this is a great book.
Playboy's Illustrated Treasury of Gambling.
Yeah, really.
I have one gambling book, and I don't know where it is.
I love old gambling books. Some of the pictures in these books are amazing. They have a fabulous baccarat picture. Let's see. Yes, I do like Hello Kitty, though. That is true, but I'm not obsessive about it. I'm trying to find my favorite baccarat picture if I can find it. but I can't find it. I should ear.
Yes, they did. That happened just before the casinos were closed down. I believe they're branding what was going to be the Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville Casino will become a KISS casino at some point in the future. But again, we don't know what's going to happen moving forward.
Check that out. Baccarat, when it was played with only cash. Look at all the cash in the table. So it was completely a cash game. Pretty cool.
Classy.
I know. Classy. Very classy, isn't it? But yeah, that's why the 5% commission works so well with $20 bills. That's why you have $20 chips still at Borgata.
That explains it. Somebody was asking me that last year.
What were they asking you?
Somebody was asking me about the $20 chips.
That's my favorite.
Well, there you go.
Lots of Borgata chips. I love the $20 chips, but the $20 chips make such perfect sense when you have a 5% commission game. So it's really smart stuff. You know what? Lena says, didn't KISS partner to open a casino in Biloxi?
Yes, I was answering that question when you were out getting your Baccarat picture.
I'm sorry. Hillary said that Hard Rock AC started with $20 chips, and they got rid of the $20 chips. That's really sad. So that would mean, I think the only casino left in Atlantic City with $20 chips is Borgata. Yeah, that's a good point, Doug, that it would be good for the buy VIGs. But the only thing, when I buy the 4 for the 10, I try to buy for 35 for $1 or 39 for $1, pushing it, because they'll let you do that in Atlantic City, but they won't let you do that in a lot of places. A lot of places in Atlantic City will let you buy the 4 and the 10 for $39 for a $1 VIG. Have you ever tried that? No. Okay.
No.
So anyone else have any other questions? Because we're going to wrap this up. Mark, thank you so much for doing this experiment. I think it worked really well. So I think we'll do it again next week. Does this time work well for you?
For me? Sure. Why not? There's nothing happening in the world. I can't leave my house. Can't go gambling. Can't go to happy hour.
Well, we would love feedback. We'd love to hear from you about what guests you would like on the show. Definitely visit the TravelZork ZorkCast group on Facebook. Tweet to us who you would like to have as a guest, and maybe we could work that out for next week now that we've figured out this technology, because I think this is really nice. And Joe, let's see, a final question. Do you see any interesting collaborations tying casino loyalty with traditional miles and points award programs coming, given the current climate? Haven't thought about that so much with regard to, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Wyndham and Caesars with the merger, to see if that stays the same. I'm sort of curious about that, but I haven't thought about many of the other, tie-ins with hotels. Any thoughts from you on that?
I think they're going to all be offering fantastic offers to come visit Vegas. So I'm not sure if that will just be on the casino side or if that'll include the hotel side. I kind of look like, if we're looking at Virgin, for example, they're going to have, I believe, a casino program, their own program, and they're tied with, I believe it's Signature, which is maybe a Marriott. You know that better than me. But I think, we will see them using their programs to get back here. So,
yeah, so it's cool stuff. Okay, well, it's been great. Thank you again, Mark. Anything else you'd like to leave us with tonight? Any pearls of Meltz baby? I like hashtag Meltz baby. Not many people use that. I know. No, I'm trying to make it trend.
If you're missing Vegas, just try to remember the music you heard in the casinos. Remember the lotion or the toiletries that are available. I got my lotion from the Cromwell that I use pretty often, just when I'm home and nobody's going to smell me, because the scent is not pliable for everybody. So, but I've got my Casino Jams playlist I can listen to certain things that bring back certain memories, whether it's waiting for a cab at the valet at Mandalay Bay, or whether it's walking over to what's now the Cromwell. There's certain songs that bring back certain memories, and for me, music plays a large part of my life. So that's a big thing. And whether it's music or scent or reading more stuff, do it while you can. I'm practicing video poker, as my way to channel my gambling needs. And ultimately, when the casinos reopen, I'll be a way better video poker player, hopefully.
Okay. Well, I agree. So we'll pick up from there next week. Thank you again. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for all of the positive comments. It makes me so super happy. Yeah, and bye.